Hey everybody, it's Alan Brochstein from 420 Investor and New Cannabis Ventures, and this is the last video. No, it's not the last video, it's the last video where I wear this face mask. The reason? I'm getting my new teeth on Monday. So next week, you'll see my smiling face again. Until then, I'm wearing this mask to avoid upsetting you with the gap in my mouth. All right, so here's the weekly update that I share on YouTube. And I am preparing this video for the whole world, but it's based on an article that I write on Friday afternoons for my subscribers at 420 Investor. And you can always join. It's $5.99 a year, and I have a lot of subscribers that are very happy despite the bad action in cannabis stocks. This week's action, which I'll talk about more in a moment, was not bad at all. We did lag the S&P 500, but we were up. All right, so this week, in terms of important market news, BDSA Analytics puts out monthly data on 11 markets, and in my view, especially for a bull, it wasn't that great, and it wasn't terrible, but it's more of the same, which is not good. We're seeing in the West, Western 5 states they cover, California, Oregon, Arizona, Nevada, and Colorado, we're seeing incredible weakness year over year, and sequentially it wasn't so great either. It was up, but there was an extra day in July compared to June, and so it really wasn't so great. And then in the eastern states, the 6 of them, the absolute year-over-year numbers were better, but the sequential growth was still kind of not so great. It was, instead of being 3.3%, there were some states where the sequential growth was negative a little bit, but it wasn't a big deal. So that was one piece of news. The Highfire puts out predictive data based on their own collections for Canada. And they predict that the July sales in Canada from retail cannabis will be 402.6 million. That's down a little bit. And it's still really good, but the year-over-year growth isn't that great. I mean, it's been better in the past. It's still good. It's positive, but so continued weakness in Canada. And finally, Illinois released their adult use data at the beginning of the month, but they also released their medical cannabis data for the month of August and this week. And on a combined basis, it was sequentially flat in August versus July, but it was down 11% from a year ago. Now, I think Illinois is a great market, but it's been under dispensaried for a while, and there are new dispensaries coming online, I think later this year. All right, so at 420 Investor, I write a lot and share it with my subscribers, and I included in the weekly review, which you can find linked in the summary of this. I included 4 things that I wrote. 3 of them were written yesterday afternoon and are all on a weekly basis. And one of them was part of my monthly research, where I give 3 feature articles, and I share those when I write them at 420 Investor. And the one I wrote this week, actually last Sunday, was big to me. And if you follow my work, you'll know that this isn't news. I like ancillary companies, and I've written about that at New Cannabis Ventures, and I'm very public about this. And I think that the ancillary companies suffer, one, fundamentally from their weak customer base, and 2, investment-wise, because so many people in late 2020 and early 21 piled into the ancillary stocks because they were pro-Democrats changing. And that hasn't worked out. And I think that those people that went long the NASDAQ listed ancillary companies, they're struggling to find buyers right now. But I think that'll change. And the other three that I wrote yesterday were every week I write these three. And there was a weekly review that this is based upon. There was a model portfolio composition where I take my two long-term focused model portfolios and talk about how they're constructed by subsector relevant to the index, the global cannabis stock index. And then a picture story where I have pictures of a bunch of different stocks by subsector and market cap. So similar companies, how they performed. I did since the end of May for this week. And it is amazing. If you think all cannabis stocks move the same, you need to subscribe so you can get this and you'll see that how wrong that is. Okay, this week the news was kind of light. The focus list is 31 stocks, and the companies that reported this week, well, the Ascend news was not really that light. It impacted the stock a great deal, and it wasn't real clear what was going on. The CEO was hit with a domestic related misdemeanor, and I'm not exactly sure what it is. I believe it's not going to result in a conviction, but the company said their board of directors is treating the investigation very importantly, and so whatever it was, some people dumped because they're afraid Abner Curtin's going to be gone, and I don't agree with that, by the way. I don't think he'll be gone, and I don't think if he is, it's a big deal. The other thing is the company made a $15 million CapEx lease facility go live with Excess Financial. Air Wellness, was they announced that their partner in Connecticut made progress on getting an adult use license. Canopy Growth, they own the stores in Bickle, which makes Volcano. You've probably heard of that if you know anything about cannabis. And they have introduced a limited edition Volcano Classic called With Love for Peace. Not big news for them. Cresco closed a $45 million sale leaseback in Pennsylvania with Aventine Property Group. And Jushi, they debuted cannabis-infused chocolates by Tasteology in Massachusetts. Tilt Holdings, this isn't that big a news, but they won third place in the Cultivators Cup in Massachusetts, and they put out a press release on that. Tilray is going to advise German regulators who want to learn more about how to go about legalizing for adult use. And then finally, Verano, they closed on the acquisition in Nevada of Sierra Well, and they opened their 15th store in Pennsylvania. Okay, so that was pretty much the news. Let's shift next to the performance. And like I said, this was a good week. No, it wasn't as good as the S&P 500, but we're kind of used to that now. I think that we're in a U-shaped bottom. And in fact, we made a new low this week. The old low was 1476 at the end of June, and the low on Tuesday, the day after Labor Day, was 1421. And in percentage terms, that's not zero, but it's pretty much zero. And I think the right way to look at the market this week, the global cannabis stock index, is it did rally 0.5% despite making a new all-time low on Tuesday, and that leaves us down about a penny from 1476 1406 on June 30th to 1475 yesterday. So we're basically unchanged quarter to date, but we are down 3% in September. I think it's just noise. I continue to be bullish on the future for cannabis stocks. I feel like the valuations are great and the news has been bad and it's going to get better. The next thing is, and so the index is down 55.1% now year to date. Wow, is that a lot? And then I want to go next to my model portfolios at 420 Investor. I run 3. One of them is a trading model portfolio, and when I was in the hospital from April to June, I couldn't trade, and for a great deal of that, and so, I made some mistakes earlier in the year, and I'll just get this out first. The model portfolio is down year to date by 28%. So that's way better than the index, which I just told you is down 55.1%. And I've been long and wrong the whole time, but less so than the market. And so I'm kind of encouraged. I had a great July and a good August too. I was up 21.7% in July and 3.9% in August. And the market was up a lot less in that same time frame. In fact, it was up, I think 4% or so in July and down in August, if I'm doing my math right. And so quarter to date, and that model portfolio increased 1.8% this week, so that's more than the market. And it's up 20.9% now quarter to date. And I just told you, the index is down a penny. That's a lot of value add, if you ask me. And it's kind of complicated, but I can tell you exactly how I've done it. The longer term model portfolios, there's 2 of them. They're pretty similar. 420 Opportunity was the first one. And I invented 420 Quality in March of 2017, which now it seems like it was almost the same time, but no, it was more than 2 years later. And the difference is 420 Quality can only own names on my 31-member focus list team. And also it can, instead of being only 20% cash max, it can be 30%. I've gone to cash at those maximum levels just a couple of times since I started running 420 Investor. I'm generally fully invested long-term in those model portfolios. 420 Opportunity is up 16.3% quarter to date compared to the index that I regularly beat, being unchanged or down a penny. And this week it was up 0.7%, so a little bit better than the market. And year to date, it's down 45.9%, which is way better than that 55.1% that the market's down. And 420 Quality was almost unchanged this week, so it lagged the little rally in the market. In quarter to date, it is it's up 14.5%. So that's still a lot better than the 1 penny down on the index. And year to date, it's down a little bit worse than 420 Opportunity. It's down 46.8% year to date compared to the 55.1% decline in the index. So I feel like I'm doing the job there. I know a lot of people think I should be able to make money in a year like this because that's what they want to do. No, you don't make money in a year like this, in my opinion. Kudos to those that can. I make money in my own account, and it's really from good stock selection, not cannabis stocks. But, in my trading account, I can and do go short. In my IRAs, I don't. But I'm up year to date in my IRAs in my own personal trading account. All right. The last thing I want to do is talk about the conference calls. And when I published this yesterday, it was pretty accurate. I can update it now for you. Tuesday and Wednesday, Benzinga, my partner that owns MarketFi, is hosting what I think has been the best cannabis conference over time in Chicago, the Cannabis Capital Conference. And that'll take place Tuesday and Wednesday. I can't make it there this year. I wanted to go. But if you can be in Chicago for those days, it really is a good way. And I think this is a good time as well to connect with the industry and the people in it. And then on Wednesday, that is the 14th, High Tide reports. That's their Q3. So after the close on Wednesday, High Tide. So what's the addition? So last night, after I published this, Fire and Flower, which is on my focus list, came out and said that Tuesday morning, I think, they're going to be releasing their Q2 results and hosting a conference call. That's really it. I hope you have a good weekend and take care. Bye.